seminaries and unregulated religious institutions still flourish. And let me give you an example. Let me, viewers, read out the list of these Wahhabi-Salafi cradles. Al-Jamiatul Salafi in Varanasi, the Markaz Ad-Dawa As-Salafia in Chennai, Jamia Ibn Tahimiyya, Bihar Sharif, Jamia Muhammadiyya, Maharashtra, Darul Hadith Salafia, Jammu and Kashmir. Worse, they are patronized. They are patronized, viewers, by supposedly tolerant Indian Muslims. And this, one has to ask, is why? Why is it that no one protests? Viewers, on the Hindu side of the fence, if someone embraces a path that is hardline and communal, the community itself, the Hindu community itself protests. But here, viewers, many Muslims are seeing, are participating in radicalization, and no one protests. No one calls for their ban. The ban of these organizations, these hardline organizations, or regulation from within the Muslim community. This permissiveness has created ideological vulnerabilities that hostile forces exploit, whether it's Pakistan, viewers, or it is irreconcilable jihadi organizations that want to damage the idea of India. Viewers, why haven't madrasas been shut down? Across the Muslim world, even deeply Islamic nations have acted decisively. Saudi Arabia curtailed its own clerical, class and state-regulated Friday sermons. And I'm just going to show you the hard facts, viewers. This is what is happening in the Islamic world. There they are worried about this explosion. The UAE outlawed unauthorized dawa and established a national fatwa council. Oversight is what they are doing, viewers. Egypt and Tunisia have brought mosques under government oversight, while Indonesia certified preachers to ensure moderation. But no, viewers, not in India. And let me just go painstakingly through these facts. As I said, Saudi Arabia shifted control from independent clerics to state-vetted bodies, reduced Wahhabi clerical influence over education and foreign funding. That's what's happening in Saudi Arabia. Here, viewers, free for all. Egypt, a ministry of Awqaf regulates Friday sermons nationwide, so no radical messages are being openly peddled. Viewers, what do we have in India? In Srinagar, at one time, ISIS flags were being flown regularly during sermons and after sermons. And what were we being taken? Oh, these are young people. Let them vent. In Egypt, unified weekly sermon themes are issued by the state. Viewers, Kuwait and Bahrain monitor NGO and charity accounts to prevent Gulf-to-Gulf ideological transfers. In Tunisia, closed mosques and froze accounts of Salafi charities after 2013 militant attacks. So they realized that Salafi Islam has a direct causal link to extremism. So they shut down those mosques and froze the accounts of these charities. Viewers, in Indonesia introduced preacher certification to ensure alignment with moderate Islam. There are many, many such examples. As I said, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Egypt arrest or sermon bans on clerics advocating sectarianism or political Islam. That means organizations like the Muslim Brotherhood. Here, Jamaat-e-Islami, viewers, was courted in Kashmir till very recently. Malaysia and Lebanon denied platforms to controversial foreign speakers like Zakir Naik when they were seen to inflame communal sentiments and tensions. And viewers, here in our country, viewers, Zakir Naik is embraced by political parties. Yes, viewers. None of this is happening in India. Why? Because any attempt at doing so is called out as Islamophobia and discrimination. And this is a real worry, viewers. We are being held and blackmailed by a false narrative. And this narrative, viewers, is preventing what would be legitimate action. Regulating Wahhabi-Salafi influence is not a religious intrusion, but a national security imperative. India must defend both its secular fabric and its spiritual pluralism from ideologies that reject pluralism. It's absurd. If you want to preserve what you call is the inclusive, tolerant, syncretic Islam of the Indian subcontinent of India, then you must reject those ideologies that reject pluralism. De-radicalization is a priority. Begin by shutting down madrasas, which prompts a few questions. If Islam in India, we're told, is tolerant and syncretic, then why are Muslims tolerating hardline Wahhabi and Salafi influences? If there is a silent acceptance of hardline Islam, then it is fair to say Muslims are undermining the secular idea of India. Why aren't we seeing more and more Muslims speaking out against the hardline ideologies that are even being regulated in Gulf states? And if Muslims are in favor of living with Hindus in peace, why are they resistant to bans on madrasas? I want to ask these fundamental questions, and let's open this up. Major Arya is here with us. Nalin Kohli, National Spokesperson of the BJP. Abhijit Iyer Mitra, Senior Fellow of the IPCS. Syed Abbas, Political Analyst. Umar Junaidi, Advocate and Political Analyst.
Sorry.
And let me ask you, Umar Saab, it's a fundamental question tonight. And it's a question that now Indians are beginning to ask you with urgency. If you want to protect, or if you say that Islam in India is very syncretic, tolerant, then why is there a silent acceptance of hardline Islam? And if there is it fair to say that Muslims are undermining the secular idea of India? It's a fundamental question to you tonight.
The very first point is there is no connection of Islam with terrorism, and whoever is indulged into terrorism is not from Islam. It is what the clear concept of the Muslims in India and across the globe is. Now, talking about the radicalization, the Islamophobia, shutting up of madrasas, that is not the way. The way is to identify the threat which is to the national security and to the social fabric of India.
Sir, is Salafi Islam, I'm asking you, and Wahhabi Islam, the hardline Islam that is regulated in even the Middle East, a threat to Indian Islam, yes or no?
If that is the threat to the Indian Islam, that is not the point.
No, it is a point. No, I'm asking you. I'll tell you why. Because you say, no, 1 second, sir. You say, Junaid Saab, you say, what do you say? You say, Junaidi Saab, that Indian Islam is very different. That Indian Islam is a very tolerant, open Islam.
Obviously.
Yes. So then, why are these Wahhabis and Salafis being allowed to preach without protest and turning Islam into something that Indian Islam is not? I'm only asking you. Why aren't you making a noise? Why isn't your community coming out and saying that this is unacceptable to us? The man on your screens is Maulvi Irfan Ahmed, and people have allowed him. Had this crackdown not happened, he would never be in jail. He would be preaching and converting. And what is his view? It's a Salafi worldview. So I'm asking you, sir, आप चुप क्यों बैठे हैं?
Sir, हम चुप बैठे हैं या नहीं बैठे, that is something different.
No, why?
Why are the
Who is
Indian
going to
agencies
regulate?
are
No,
being
why?
silent?
That is the fundamental
Why
point,
the
sir.
Indian agents, that's what I am saying. Let me complete.
Please.
Why are the Indian agencies being silent? If there is a threat from the Wahhabi and the Salafis, take the action.
Sir, do you want the Indian agencies to be sitting in your mosques? No, no. You wouldn't want that, right? That's intrusion. So what about self-regulation? Aapka koi, nahi, aapka, is there no responsibility, no onus on the Muslim community? Hindus are the first ones to identify. No, 1 second, sir. Hindus are the first ones to identify extremists in their midst.
See, the Islam in India is something very different, and the radicalization of Islam has been continuously a part of a debate. And whatever the peace-loving Muslims of India are, the very basic concept of Islam in India, the preaching of Islam in India was through a very nominal way with a love, affection, and without any weapons used. So that is what we have been following. And if there is a threat to the national security, definitely every Muslim of India is with the government, is with the agencies of the government. Take the action, get them behind the bars, take the action, have their encounters, do whatever you want to, because they are not only the threat to the Islam, but also to the national resources,
No, no,
to
one
the
second,
nation.
one second, sir, 1 second. I have to ask you again. No, 1 minute. Let me open this up. Abhijit Iyer Mitra, what do you make of these arguments that Mr. Junaidi is extending? That let the state do it all. Then what is the onus? What is the you know, as they say, daitwa, jisko kehte hain, of the Muslim community in this country?
The daitwa of the Muslim community since day one is whoever is against the ideology of Islam and the ideology of the country.
Sir, is
they
the
are-
Wahhabi and Salafi ideology against the basis of Indian Islam? It's a straight question to you.
That's definitely since many years, and the Muslims of India have been struggling it out. They are doing their ways to eradicate these things.
So then why isn't someone like this Maulvi voluntarily handed over to the police? You tell me. How is he setting up? How are these institutions? No, hang on. How are these Salafi institutions that I have mentioned? How are they open without question? How is the Al Jamia to Salafi? How is the Markaz Al Dawa Al Salafia? How is Jamaya Im Tamaya? No, 1 second. How are Jamia Muhammadiyah, Darul Hadith Salafia? All these are Salafi Islamic organizations. How are they setting up and functioning, and how are people going to them so openly? You tell me, sir.
So the government is close-eyed.
Oh, so the government must regulate it. Viewers, we have no responsibility.
Definitely, you
हमारे
want to
बीच में कोई भी घुस जाए, कोई problem नहीं. Okay.
Sir, we are
Okay,
fighting
okay.
it.
I've heard
We
you,
are
sir.
fighting it.
I've heard you. I've
We
heard
are-
you.
we are fighting
I've
it.
heard you. I've heard you. I've heard you. I've heard you. No problems. We've understood your point of view. Abhijit Iyer Mitra.
First, I don't think the problem is with Salafism or Wahhabism. You look at the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. The Saudis have cracked down on extremists very harshly. In Emirates, if you wag your tail even half of what these poster boys, the sane poster girls of terrorism here do, like Miss Rana Ayub and this radio jockey called Saima. They would be in so many layers of mukhabarat custody. They won't see the outside of a jail for the next 25 years in Saudi Arabia and the Emirates. So let's not blame the, Wahhabism and Salafism. Let's look at the way it is propagated by certain people in India. The problem is you have a complete so-called secular commentariat that keeps pushing this, persecution complex on people. A leadership, because the Sunni community has not modernized in this country, unlike the Shias who have modernized long back. The Sunnis have not modernized. They live in a feudal setup with a complete feudal leadership that uses its own community to gain personal advantages, political, whatever, sifarish, Oxford, Cambridge, mein mere bacche ko admission dila do, I will get you 200 votes in my mohalla, etc., etc. This is what they do. They have been double used by their own community and abandoned by their own leaders. They are used like cattle by their own leaders. And it is the same people and the hangers-on, like this so-called journalist and so-called radio jockey, who go and amplify all this alienation narrative. You are not backward because of your own leaders. There is a great Hindu conspiracy against you. They are out to kill you, etc., etc., etc. When are we going to stop that? How is it that Wahhabi Saudi Arabia and Wahhabi United Arab Emirates are so progressive, modern, and have such amazing security, and still, the Sunnis in India will follow the most obscurantist, regressive, retrograde people and have as its mascots jokers, clowns, and there is one fact checker sitting in Bangalore, alleged fact checker, who are absolute vile garbage.
Okay.
Why do they choose garbage? We need to ask them this.
Well, that's the question that I'm trying to get at, though I can't speak for all the individuals that you have named, Iyer Mitra, because I have I've never read any of their work, etc., etc. So I don't really know what's happening. I'd rather not waste my time, but I want to bring in Mr. Abbas. Mr. Abbas, why aren't we seeing more and more Muslims speaking out against the hardline ideologies that are even being regulated in Gulf states? On the other hand, what we are seeing is Muslim politicians coming out and saying, oh, this is being done because of Bihar, this is being done here, these are all Modi government charges, so you're creating alibis for these people. So I want to ask you, sir, if Muslims are in favor of living with Hindus in peace, why are they resistant to bans on madrasas? Shut them down. Why do we need them?
I think when it comes to madrasas, the UP government under Honorable Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath ji grants them funds. So why don't we start
I'm saying, why don't we shut them down? Why don't we shut them down? I'm not here carrying, sir. I'll ask the BJP. I'm not carrying the. No, I will. We'll ask. I'm not carrying this bag. One second. I'm not carrying the bag for anyone here. I'm asking you, would you be in favor of shutting down madrasas? Give me that answer. Yes or no?
Dhruv Saxena, a member of the BJP who was a part of ISIS, also went to temple. For that one, Dhruv Saxena, will you...
Sir, I want to ask you, name me one organization that is called the following. No, one second. Listen, I'm not here defending, I'm not here defending Hindu extremists. I'm not here... Excuse me, Mr. Abbas, one second, please. I just want to draw one line here. One line. No, one second. Okay. I'm done with the whataboutery. People's lives are being killed. And you are sitting here and doing whataboutery. Whether it is Hindus or it is Muslims who are extremists, do we care about them? No. Who calls out these extremists?
May I complete?
No, sir, I'm asking you tonight. If Muslims are in favor of living with Hindus in peace, why are they resistant to bans? And why are they joining? No, why are they joining organizations like the Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Toiba? Why are they part of the Jamaat-e-Islami? You please tell me this. Why are these four doctors educated like you, sir, with great prospects, signing up for people who believe in this hardline Salafi and Wahhabi ideology? Why? Ghazwa-e-Hind, Darul Harb, Darul Islam. What is all this nonsense?
I will answer you. Dearest Rahul Sahab, you've asked a very serious question and this certainly needs an answer. I stand with you on that front. I know, as an Indian of this country, I completely relate to you, sir. As a matter of fact, many of our panelist friends, this shakes us. This makes us so furious. It hurts us. Irrespective of Hindu-Muslim, Indians have been killed. Our brothers, our sisters.
And Muslims are also killed in this particular attack.
Yes, just 30 seconds, Rahul Sahab. Kids have been orphaned. This is catastrophic and this is hurtful.
So then let me ask you, sir, please, I accept your, I bow to you for making your position and your disdain for this kind of behavior clear. But now I have to ask you, if there is so much disdain, if there are so many Abbasis, why aren't they out on the street saying not in my name? When Akhlaq was unfortunately lynched, many of Muslim friends, Hindu friends joined Muslim friends to say not in my name. We don't believe in this. I am not seeing those protests. Where are those protests? Where are those candlelight marches? Why isn't Srinagar walking today, all of the people in Srinagar walking today saying that not in our name? These are not our children. These are not our sons. These are not our daughters. Where is this?
Rahul Sahab, in fact, you would appreciate my answer to your pointed question is, I really wish these so-called Muslims really read the Quran, which says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Rabbul Alameen and not just Muslimin, which means the Almighty God, the energy, the Supreme Almighty belongs to everything in this world and not just us Muslims. So therefore the wrong interpretation which has come from, the wrong interpretation, Salafi ho, ya Wahhabi ho, which speaks of killing people, which speaks of wars, I think that must be thrown out of this Arabic culture and tradition which comes from Saudi Arabia. It's absolutely unfortunate. And I, sir, will take that point ahead and say, yes, sir, we must and should take out more processions, raise a voice and say, not in our name, because today,
but Indians it's not happening. Okay, let me open this up. Major Arya, and let me also bring in Mr. Nalin Kohli, the national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Major Arya, this is not happening. I am not seeing those processions. Even in Chandni Chowk, where this has taken place, which I am told has a large number of Muslims, I'm not seeing people walk up and down, march today with the candles, or even go to this site and say not in our name. You know, you come out and you say not in our name in that great road that you blocked for 1.5 years over CAA, Shaheen Bagh, but not here. Please tell me why.
Rahul, a couple of things. I have never seen this. I mean, I could be wrong, absolutely, and maybe I've missed it if it's happened, but I've never seen it. I've never seen people coming on the road and saying not in our name. मैंने कभी नहीं देखा. First thing. Second thing is that we must understand that I'm not talking about Muslims completely as a community, but there are certain sections in which this is absolutely acceptable. And it is unfortunate. So again, I'm not saying all Muslims are like that, because Muslims are in crores, and I mean, I won't know. But yes, in certain sections, this is acceptable in certain sections. And that is how people get refuge. So when you say that there are Hindus here who have, who have taken money from the ISI,
Not
and
fair.
Hindus here who have, sir, please allow me
Sir,
to
let him
complete, sir. I'm trying
finish.
to make a
No
point.
one interrupted you, sir. Let him finish.
I know-
He has
I
a
know,
point of
Gaurav
view. We're in
bhai.
open democracy. You can
Gaurav
respond to
bhai,
him, but let's not
those
reduce this, please,
Gaurav-
to name calling. He
Gaurav
has a
bhai,
point
those
of view.
हैं
You
बड़े
can't
भाई,
ban him from
गलत
speaking,
बात।
sir.
But ये गलत बात है, Gaurav
You can
bhai,
say that.
honestly.
You can say
Honestly.
that. But please,
This is
listen
wrong.
to him.
Gaurav bhai.
Listen to
Gaurav
him.
bhai, you're
So,
beyond this.
Listen to
I'll
him.
listen to you.
Listen to
I'll
him.
listen to you, Gaurav bhai. I'll
Listen to
listen
him.
to you.
Yes.
So-
I'll
Okay.
listen to
so-
you, my
Major
So-
Arya,
I'll
so-
listen
Major
to you.
Arya, please continue. Yes.
So what I'm saying is that, like they mentioned that, there were Hindus who were, paid money by the ISI or the ISIS to betray their country. And absolutely, I mean, these people should be hanged. Yeah? Hindu, Muslim doesn't matter to me. If they are traitors to the country, they must be hanged. Where is that ecosystem that exists? That ecosystem
Yes.
needs to be dismantled. And
Yes.
like, for example, people are talking about DSP Devinder Singh, who was there. People are talking about so many Hindu people, and they said, no, he went to a temple, and why? Hang him, man. How does it matter? It doesn't matter to me. What matters is that the country should be safe, and it does not matter who the villains are and to which god they pray. Now, I want to bring out a small point. In Saudi Arabia, Vijit was very rightly mentioning, in Saudi Arabia, what they've done is created a panel of religious clergy who are looking at the hadiths.
Yeah.
And they're saying that we should not teach these. Not all, but many have been expunged on the orders of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. You cannot wear a Palestinian keffiyeh when you go for Hajj. Try it. They'll arrest you. Forget about raising slogans. Just wear that checked scarf and go for Hajj. Then you'll realize the price that you have to pay in Saudi Arabia. So those people have cracked down. In the entire Islamic world, even next door in Pakistan, can you have a pro-Gaza, pro-Palestine protest? TLP tried it, Tehreek-e-Labbaik. They killed more than 350 people.
Yeah.
So that is how these people in other countries control. I'm not saying this should be done in India. Can't be. We are a proud democracy. But I'm just saying, because Abhijit mentioned Saudi Arabia.
No, we are
Saudi
such a
Arabia
proud
has-
democracy.
Something to add.
Major, we are such a proud democracy. We give, in fact, Hamas a stage.
Yes. Yes,
Those
we have.
terrorists
Yes, you're right.
who are
Yes, we have.
sworn to eliminate all Jews. Rancid
10 seconds
anti-Semites
to
we are
add,
giving,
Rahul
xenophobes we are giving, and we are supporting. And we are saying, no, you see, Hamas, they are victims. Now, one second. I want to bring in, before I bring in Nalin Koliji, I want to bring in Dr. Ranganathan. I'll bring in the others also. Just give me 30 seconds. Dr. Ranganathan, dismantle Hindutva, dismantle Sanatan. Have you seen the Latvians ecosystem say dismantle political Islam or Islamist terror infrastructure, or Wahhabism or Salafism? I haven't. What's your take on this debate tonight?
Good evening, Rahul. Look, as long as we believe Pakistan is a nation and not a thought, we will never understand that the real problem is internal, not external. We are looking at the hyena outside our home but ignoring the elephant in the room. Because only in India will you find the same people participating in candlelight marches for terrorists as well as for the victims of terrorists. Only here you will find mourners attending the funeral of terrorists as well as the victims of terrorists. And if that doesn't tell you something, nothing else will. Today, the very same people wearing black armbands, shuttering their shops, shedding tears for the victims of the Red Fort terror attack, were just the other day assembling in their thousands for the funeral of Burhan Wani and Nasrallah and Yahya. So what has changed? They're trying to hide their hate, but they don't realize that Indians have finally understood. Where does all this hate come from? It can't all come from across the border, Rahul. It comes from an ideology that transcends borders. It is a snakes and ladders game where ladders are provided by Pakistan and the snakes by India and vice versa. Honestly, you can only fight the Pakistans you can see. And that is why I say Pakistan is not just a nation. It's a state of mind. It's a thought. Rahul, if development and prosperity brought peace, Middle East would be like Dubai. But is it? Let me explain. There are two sides of Kashmir. On one side, 9 medical colleges, 1.5 million tap connections, 8 million Ayushman cards, 0.2 million homes, 0.8 million toilets, 65 million tourist footfall, 30% increase in school days, 9,000 kilometers of roads, 87% decline in stone pelting incidents, 80% decline in terror incidents, 40% decline in youth joining terror organizations, 45% increase in GDP per capita, health, wealth, education, all in Kashmir in the last 5 years. And on the other side, doctors of death. On the other side, Pahalgam, and the lifeless body of a husband, eyes still staring at his shocked wife, killed because he was identified as a Hindu. But it will not shake the world's conscience, because terrorism has no religion. And that is why terrorists checked the ID cards of tourists, pulled their pants down to confirm, asked them to recite the kalma, and killed those not Muslims. How did we reach a point where kalma, not karma, will save us? Because we refuse to accept the terror as a religion. We refuse to accept that atrocities against 500,000 Kashmiri Hindus didn't happen. Ayub Pandit wasn't lynched by a mob. Thousands never attended the funerals of terrorists. ISIS flags were never unfurled in Jamia Masjid. A sitting PM never shook hands with the murderer Yasin Malik. Nadimag massacre, where 23 unsuspecting Kashmiri Hindus were lined up and shot point blank, is a lie. Girija Tiku, who was raped and cleaved into two by a mechanical saw while she was still alive, is a lie. BK Ganju, who hid inside a rice barrel when jihadis came looking for him after his Muslim neighbor ratted on him and was shot dead, then rice laced with his blood was fed to his wife, is a lie. The slogans raised from Mos, Ralif, Salif, Galif, dead to Kafirs, all lies. And as long as we believe these are all lies, we are sprouting thousands of doctors like Muzammil and Shaheen and Umar who have only one reason to live, death.
Can I give
And
the
let's stop
ultimate
calling
truth
it a
on this?
white collar crime. There is no
It's all
white or
lies,
blue
but there is
collar.
a truth
They're
there.
all soldiers of Allah, equal in his eyes, ready to obey the command at the
Well-
click of a finger.
Well,
Okay, can I get 10 seconds now,
one
sir?
second. I want to ask you,
Please.
what is all lies, Mr. Abbas, that the Muslims carried out this?
I'll tell you.
Is it
I'll
a
tell you
lie?
what-
Is it a
I'll
lie
tell you-
that
I'll
these...
tell you
No,
what
no,
is
one
the truth.
second. Is it a lie
Sure.
that these doctors are Muslims? I'm asking you a question, sir. Is it a lie? No, no,
the
you... No,
truth-
आप मुझे
I'll tell
जवाब
you
दीजिए.
answer.
Is it a lie
See,
that
Rahul,
Muslims have carried this out?
My dear,
I'm asking you, sir. Please answer my
I'm
question.
answering you. Just give me 10 seconds, Rahul Sahab. I will answer you, I promise. All of this that my friend Anand Ranganathan has said, let me add on to that. What is the ultimate truth is certain sections of the media and certain
Listen.
extremist
Stop
people
this victimhood
are
card.
thriving-
Stop it, Abbas.
are
I'm asking you,
thriving on
are
this
these
Hindu
Muslims?
Muslim.
Yes or no? Is the media making this up?
Sir,
Bhai-
I'm not saying you.
No, one
but there
second.
is
No,
a-
I'm not talking
there
about
are-
myself. I'm
Okay,
talking about the
5
media in general. Are we
seconds, 5
cooking up
seconds, sir.
facts? हमने क्या
5
नहीं,
seconds,
एक मिनट मुझे ये
sir.
बताइए,
There
हमने
are-
इनका
there
नाम
are
दिया,
people-
हमने इनको
there are
डॉक्टर
people-
बनाया.
Okay, I'll answer. 5 seconds, Rahul sir. Please. Viewers are watching. But there are people out there who thrive on doing this Hindu versus Muslim.
अरे भाई,
for
it
TRPs.
is the men
they
have
get
struck
sadistic pleasure.
because they're no,
वो
one
Muslim
second.
है.
The men have struck because they've joined the Jaish-e-Mohammed. What does it mean, Jaish-e-Mohammed? Can you give me the translation of Jaish-e-Mohammed?
I'm glad.
Abbas,
glad you
tell me,
asked me
what
this.
is the translation
Yes.
of Jaish-e-Mohammed?
I'm glad you asked
What
me
is the
this.
translation of
Jaish-e-Mohammed.
Lashkar-e-Toiba? In whose name is this?
What hurts me, Rahul Sahab? What
what
hurts
hurts
me
me?
is our prophet Muhammad. A great person.
Yes.
These sick, I'm getting the choicest of abuses for these terrorists, for these rakshas, for these cold-blooded murderers, use our prophet's name for their terror organization.
I see.
It hurts the Muslim, Rahul
It
Sahab,
hurts the
that
Muslim.
they
Then
do
tell
it.
me one thing, sir. Then tell me one thing. Jamaat-e-Islami, what does that mean?
It's a coming together of
what?
Islam.
Of Islam. Isn't it
Yes.
banned in Kashmir? Who banned it?
It should be banned.
It should
Absolutely.
be. It has been banned. But all these years it was
I'm
not
glad.
banned. All these years
I'm
it was
glad.
not banned. Who tolerated
I
it?
believe.
Who
I will
flies
answer
the
that.
flags of ISIS? What does the ISIS
Definitely.
want? An
I will
Islamic
answer- I
state?
have an answer to that.
And वहां पर
And we'll be
Farooq
happy.
Abdullah साहब कहते हैं, viewers, listen to this. This is a fact. When after a prayer meeting, and this happened every Friday, you will remember it in 2013, 2014, when these black flags of the ISIS were flown. Farooq Saab said, Arey, they are misguided kids. Let them be, they're venting their frustrations. Viewers, if
Very
Hindus
fair
had been
point,
running
Rahul
around,
Saab.
no, at one minute, if Hindus had
I
been running
accept
around
that.
and saying we want to make this into a Hindu Rajya, forget Rashtra,
And-
you would have
and
said
now
what?
also one
That
more
this
name,
place
sir, we
has
are
become
missing out
this
on.
place has become communal.
We
Sadhvi
are
Pragya
missing
fell
out
into
on
the
one
no
more
one
name.
second. Sadhvi Pragya got arrested. No case has been proven against her, but you invented. The
will
fact
answer
that terror
This,
had a religion and it was Hindu.
yeah. No. That's
Of course.
मेरा
Come
हिंदू
on, sir.
भाई
Did you
कभी-
not say this?
राहुल साहब,
Please. उस
राहुल
दिन तो आप
साहब,
कह रहे थे साध्वी प्रज्ञा the Hindu
राहुल
terrorist.
साहब,
Come on. Please. What do you mean
Rahul
Hindu
Saab,
terrorist?
Rahul
Anyhow,
Saab.
1 minute.
No,
Let me bring in
I've
Mr.
never
Nalin
said
Kohli.
this.
Mr. Kohli,
I've never said
the
this.
fundamental
मेरा
question
हिंदू
is,
भाई
sir,
कभी terrorist
please,
नहीं हो
Mr.
सकता।
Abbas, stop.
मेरा हिंदू भाई
Listen, you
कभी
you
terrorist
flip
नहीं हो सकता।
you flip like a coin.
My point has
Head
been
sometimes, tail
sacrosanct, sir.
sometimes. One second.
My point,
Okay,
my
one
word
second.
is sacrosanct.
Great, sir. You are a great apologist
My word
for
is
all these
sacrosanct
hideous
on that.
people. It's okay.
I
Fine.
have condemned Bhagwan.
You
those
condemn
people
them,
who say
all you condemn
Bhagwan
them.
terror.
But
I
sir,
have
come out on the
condemned those
streets and
who
make
say
yourself
saffron
be heard
terror.
and counted. You will
Rahul
not
Saab,
do that. Do you have a
Rahul
problem
Saab,
with Sartan Se
Rahul
Juda
Saab,
slogans?
Rahul
Why
Saab,
is
you
Nupur
know-
Sharma
no.
in jail?
Rahul Saab,
In forced jail in her house?
Rahul
You tell
Saab,
me
give me
this.
10 seconds, sir.
One second.
It's important.
I'm listening.
You are in the
I want to
previous
get to
channel.
Mr.
You
Nalin
know,
Kohli. I have some questions to
condemned
ask of
those
Mr.
people
Nalin Kohli or his
who
fader.
spoke
Mr.
of
Nalin
the-
Kohli, I'm sorry. We've got into a bit of a shouting match because Mr. Abbas refuses to obey what is basically the red lines of debate, that you don't speak over other people or you don't speak till you're spoken to. No. Khulle aam, sir, shuru ho jao. And I don't want to say too much, viewers, because they'll put a fatwa on me. There's another problem here. So I want to ask you, Mr. Kohli, what happens next? These people are all over the place. They're all across the country. And I know that some of your governments want to bring in the ban madrasa bills, etc., but there's resistance. So what happens next? Who's going to blink first?
So, Rahul, it's a complex question. And there's no easy answer. I think let's pause for a minute. If we look at the scheme of what our constitution is, Article 14 gives us equality, so we are equal citizens, irrespective of whether we are belonging to any religion or gender or region, whatever. But if you go a little further, Article 25 to 28 protects religious freedom. And in there lies the protection for minorities, whether they are Muslims or Christians or Buddhists, Parsis, Jews, Sikhs. They are able to create their own educational institutions. So if you look at the Constitution, how it is designed is that it recognizes Indians are equal citizens, and then it provides an extra layer for minorities to do what they wish to do with their religious practice. Now the challenge comes when there's a misuse of this constitutional guarantee by a segment, and you've named several organizations, when they use this constitutional scheme to create something that is not constitutionally mandated, because you after all cannot be looking at taking the life of another Indian citizen. And mind you, in this bomb blast, it's not just Hindus who have died, Muslims have died too.
Yeah.
So it's an Indian citizen who's dying, and it's a human being who's dying. Now, no matter what we say, this problem needs to be sorted. I remember seeing on, perhaps it was BBC, after a horrific stabbing incident took place in London, Muslim boys came out and said that I am British. I am first a British citizen, and I then am a Muslim, and we have to recognize that we have a problem in our madrasas where somebody is teaching hate. And we need to go in there, not somebody else, to go in there and stop these people from preaching hate.
But it doesn't happen.
So when a point is made that, look, we are talking about, just give me a moment, when a point is made that ultimately we are talking that a religion is not propagating it, but the practitioners, a minority within that practitioners, are propagating violence, then you will obviously expect those who follow the religion in its true beauty will stand up and say, we don't want this to happen to our religion.
Why don't they stand up, viewers?
Because the minute
and
any
that
one of
is
us
the
try to get
fundamental
into
question.
that,
The
just
state,
let me finish this.
Yes.
May I?
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I just want to finish the point and take it
Yes.
further. I've waited long, so I just want to complete it.
Yeah.
So the second point I'm making is, in all fairness, if you or me, as non-Muslims, Hindus, decide to tell them, no, this is not right and this is what should be done in your religious institution, we are also crossing the line. But since we all owe our existence of harmony and equality to the Constitution, we are equally duty bound in our own little spheres, including our religions, to step out there and say, you can't do this to harm another Indian citizen who's my brother's citizen or my sister's citizen.
Not in my
So
name.
that's the core point. So we have to work towards it. The second part is, which is equally important and it's come out in your debate, is that there are a set of people who portray victimhood, and then there's a whole overground scheme, like you have what is called urban Naxals. It's a term used that you propagate and look at violence and glorify it as a cause. This also needs to be seen.
Yeah.
Now, this is not necessarily from a religion. This is from an ideological positioning.
Well,
that
some
no,
people
this
will
violence
disagree
has
with
a
you
reason,
there.
it's a justification,
Kohli, some
and
people
therefore
will
we have to
disagree.
protect the
Political
victim.
Islam is an
Now, protecting a
extrapolation,
victim
is
of
a selective
crime is a different
interpretation.
thing.
You can call it what you want.
Protecting a perpetrator of
I
a crime
understand
is a
that.
different thing.
I understand that. But many people will say political Islam. And you know, Yogi Adityanath is one of the first people who stepped out and said this. And I must salute him for saying it. He's come out and said it's the number one threat to this country's internal security. Why? Because it's an extrapolation of all that there is, but in a perverse way. And therefore, viewers, if there is a silent acceptance of hardline Islam, of this political variant, then is it fair to say that Muslims are undermining the secular idea of India? Because if they are going to be silent, then they are complicit. And that is my question, viewers, tonight, which is unresolved, because people will say on TV, yes, we don't accept it. But what do they do in practice, viewers? Zero, nothing. I don't see. I'm glad, sir, we can agree to disagree, but you have to move that extra mile to prove to all of us in the majority community that you actually believe that you want to work with the majority community to make India unified and whole, and you do not subscribe to the ideas that come on from across the... See, now look at the protest, viewers. All I'm asking is a demonstration of your commitment to the idea of India, and they protest. And they protest. And they protest. Anyhow, one second. Lower everyone's faders. I just want to go once very finally to Mr. Iyer Mitra. Mr. Mitra, the onus should be on self-regulation. Is there something inherently wrong in what I'm saying tonight?
Let us look at the externalization that has happened. You've hit the nail on the head, self-regulation. Our friend Mr. Abbas blames it on Arab culture. Now, please understand, when the Prophet was born in Mecca and went to Medina, these were cultures. Mecca was a highly sophisticated and refined place. They were very, they were part of the Roman cultural sphere. They were part of Petra and things like that. They were very refined and sophisticated. The problem lies with the Indian Muslim, and Mr. Abbas himself is a microcosm of it. What did he say? Oh, it is Arab culture.
Okay.
It is not us. Now he says there is wrong interpretation. Who is responsible for the interpretation? I can show you verses from the Bible when Joshua conquers Canaan on God's instructions that are far worse than anything in the Quran. Do you see Christians go around behaving the way the Indian Muslim does? Why is that? And all religions have violence. But imagine, Rahul, an ordinary Indian poor vegetable seller has the sense not to follow, not to kill his brother based on what the
look, I understand all of this. So why is it? Yes, so why? Viewers, this is a question that you have to ponder. And I have left it open. I'm not passing any value judgment. I'm only asking Muslim brothers to stand up and Muslim sisters to stand up to this radical, extremist bunch of people. Because if we don't, viewers, we're going to have a problem. And I need to move on because, viewers, in a couple of days, we are going to have an election result from Bihar. Now, many people, as you know, viewers, in this country have linked the election results to, unfortunately, this bomb blast and so on and so forth, but I'm not going there. But what typically happens before an election is that you have the exit polls. And viewers, the exit polls seem to be suggesting that there is a direction in which the outcome is headed, and that is firmly in the direction of the NDA. And that the India bloc is going to be sort of left out in the cold. And the latest poll to be added is the Access My India poll, which shows 121 to 141. Let's break it down, in fact. Let's go from that to the seat projection. There you can see it, viewers. The seat projection of the Access My India poll suggests that the NDA will get about, at the maximum, 141, at the minimum 121. Remember, viewers, 123 is the halfway mark. So if you take a medium, it's about 131. The India Alliance, or the MGB, the Mahagathbandhan will get about 98 to about 118 seats. So depending on the range, you can fix somewhere at about 108 in the middle. The JSP, which is the Jan Swaraj Party of Mr. Kishore, will end up with 0 to 2 seats. Then there is a projection, viewers, on vote share. And here is when things get very interesting, because it's 2%. Remember, in the last election, viewers, the difference was about 0.4 or 0.5%. This time it's going to be about 2%, though it is in the margin of error of plus minus 3%. Nonetheless, that is significant. Now, where is all this coming from? It's coming from the woman voter. The woman voter is going to be giving a 5% edge to the NDA. And that means that that difference is carrying the NDA across the line. But the first-time voter, the aspirational voter, is going the other way, viewers. It is going to the MGB or the India bloc, to Rahul Gandhi and Tejaswi. And look at the difference there. 37 to 46, 9%. Yes, that is 1 in 4 voters, viewers. That is going that way. But even within that, the first-time voter is a smaller chunk. So while the youth voter is going towards the MGB, it is the first-time voter, the voter that is just turned. And that's about 2% that is overwhelmingly going towards the India bloc, because they have no memory of Jungle Raj, etc., etc. They're only looking at their problem as it stands. And even between 20 and 29 years, viewers, there is a gap. You can see that gap. It's come down, but you see that gap. But 30 to 39 viewers, you see that gap close, the NDA takes an advantage. So the real youth vote is making a difference and making this contest tighter. RJD is going to emerge as the leading party according to the Access My India poll, 67 to 76 seats. The second one will be JDU. The BJP underperformed itself. It's contesting more seats, or less seats actually, by a fraction. But viewers, it is not getting as many seats. So its conversion has fallen. Now I want to go across to Pradeep Gupta, who's the chairman and managing director of Access My India, to ask him, why is it that he believes that this poll is going to be a tight one? What are the main takeaways? What are your views on this?
So as far as Access My India poll predictions goes, our exit poll data suggests these are the highlights. One is that the pro-incumbency in favor of Nitish Kumar for his clean image, good governance, clubbed with central government popularity of, in particular, Prime Minister Modi. And this is something on the ground people witness, and in particular, among the female voters, they voted 5 percentage points more in favor of NDA when it compared to Mahagathbandhan vote. Second is that the youth voter, the elector, in fact, in real sheer numbers, among the age group of 18 to 39, there are about 50% electors, there 50% contributes, 18 to 39 years of age. But among 18 to 29, which contributes 24%, Mahagathbandhan is scoring, the difference between Mahagathbandhan is very high, as in NDA is scoring about 30%, and Mahagathbandhan is scoring about 44-46%. But when it comes to age group of 39 plus or 40 plus, where the similar gap is there among the NDA vote, in favor of NDA vote, but in between there is an age group of 30 to 39, which contributes 26% of total vote or the electors. There the NDA is scoring 1 point more. So in a nutshell, the Mahila vote, then the youth vote, and of course when you talk about the Bihar, the caste arithmetic is very important, but in particular Muslim and Yadav votes is solid consolidation is happening in favor of Mahagathbandhan, which contribute together about 32% of the population of the Bihar. These are the key highlights, I think, has come to our mind. And as far as the Prashant Kishore party goes, is likely to secure about 4% vote share. The large number of votes coming from the NDA votes.
Okay.
Had there been no Prashant Kishore in this election, then NDA would have scored much larger number of vote shares, so as the seat shares. But because of Prashant Kishore Jan Swaraj party is likely to secure about 4% vote share, they have somehow equal out the prospect of NDA with LJP this time, unlike other last time, where LJP contests separately and secured 6% vote. So LJP got added to NDA. Mukesh Sahani's VIP splitted from NDA and shifted this time to Mahagathbandhan and carried away about 2% vote share last time they secured. So that 6 added 2 minus 4, and then Prashant Kishore is taking away 2.5 to 3% from the fold of NDA. So in a net, the situation is turning out to be similar to the last time.
Okay, that's very interesting. But you see, I have to ask you this. Conventional wisdom suggests that when women voter turnout goes high, especially in Bihar, as we saw last year, the NDA should canter home, because not only net have more women voted this time, but their proportion is also, as in their vote share is also higher. Their turnout is also higher. So fundamentally, they are 50% in one sense of the electorate, or maybe even more, that voted. So should not that sort of be a massive advantage for the NDA, Pradeep ji?
Yes, definitely. Yes. I mean, that's the decisive factor. If you try and single out, though there are many factors, but if you try and single out the factor among the NDA and Mahagathbandhan prospect, women voter turnout, number one. Number two, the alignment of women in particular with Nitish Kumar and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This is something is turning out to be decisive.
But Gupta ji, now let me ask you the trick question. Which end of this spectrum are you leaning towards? Are you going to say that the NDA will get about 141 and the India or the MGB will get under 100 as you are predicting, or are you leaning towards something else? Are you saying that it's going to be so tight that the margins will only decide? And also, I want to ask you on this Prashant Kishore factor, since you're saying it's damaging the NDA so much more. Many say that Jan Swaraj, being a first-time party, is being under-assessed, because that usually happens. You have no base to compare. So is it being underrepresented in polls? And if they do better, who benefits? Gupta ji.
Okay. If in our poll as well, the margin error of margin is 2%. Okay. So if Prashant Kishore score from 4, what we predicting, to 6, then it will dent the NDA prospect. And if it is 2% for the Prashant Kishore, then NDA is definitely going to cross 160 number of seats.
160. I see. So it's an inverse relationship in one sense. Now, Gupta ji, you're saying that Jan Swaraj is going to hurt the NDA more. So obviously he's not the B team of the BJP as he's being projected to be, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. So two factors. One is how Prashant Kishore does on the ground. That's one. Two, this incremental total 10 percentage point in turnout. 6 is of course on the account of SIR, but this 4% turnout incremental. If in this 4%, if large chunk is in the age group of 18 to 29, then it will help to Mahagathbandhan.
Well, stay with us.
Otherwise, it will help to NDA.
Okay, stay with us, sir. I just also want to go across to Amitabh Tiwari ji, who's another pollster with Vote Vibe. And Vote Vibe has also come out with some predictions. So let's keep them both on the air. And I want to bring you in, Mr. Amitabh Tiwari. Mr. Tiwari, your poll, I hope Pradeep ji is also there. Your poll is clear. in its pro-NDA projection. The Axis My India even is more tight than yours. Why do you think this is an NDA advantage, Mr. Tiwari?
No, I would say even our poll is showing a tighter race in the sense we have a range of 125 to 145. Whereas Axis My India has a range of 121 to 141.
Ji.
So I think Axis My India and Vote Vibe are two polls which have a lower range of in 120s. And this is precisely because of the fact that the election has become very hyper-local. And in the end, the Jan Swaraj party's campaign seems to have fizzled out. So what has happened is that a section of the voters who had moved to Jan Swaraj or who were thinking of voting for Jan Swaraj, largely youth, a section seemed to have come back to Mahagathbandhan, and a section of upper caste youth, upper caste voters who were considering voting for Jan Swaraj seem to have made their way back to the NDA. So we now have a position in Bihar wherein perhaps for the first time in many years, the others' vote share is likely to be less than 20% as per our estimates. The top two parties are likely to be around 87% plus minus 3%. And this highlights the bipolarity of the election. And this also signifies why there was a very high turnout, because both the camps have mobilized their voters and both the supporters of NDA and Mahagathbandhan feel that they are in a chance to win, and they have come out and voted in larger numbers.
So both have been able to mobilize. So what is the overall effect of this higher voter turnout? I mean, I know that it's difficult to read it, but tell me.
See, if you see the higher turnout, the female turnout is higher by around 9%. In 2020 also it was higher by around 6%. However, for the first time in the history of Bihar again, the number of votes cast by women is more than the number of votes cast by men. That is around 4 lakh. That translates into roughly 1800 voters per 1800 votes per assembly seat. So on an average, 1800 women per assembly seat have voted more than men in this assembly election. And if this goes one way, then we can have the exit polls which are predicting 150, 160 plus estimates. And I think this Mahila Rozgar Yojana clearly has emerged as one of the central themes of this election. And this has what perhaps has also motivated more and more women to come out. They have received the benefit of Nitish Kumar schemes over many decades now. And there is also a sympathy for Nitish in his last election, and people want to, or largely the women also may want to send a farewell sort of an election to him, or a gift sort of an election. So that's why we saw the turnout is high.
Now, I know that directionally, of course, all the polls are predicting an NDA victory, and even Chanakya, in fact, which has come out a short while back, that's really at 160 for the NDA. But I want to ask you, since you, both of you have basically run a very close and tight race in your predictions, what is the S factor that could upend your calculations? Is it the new party, which is the Jan Swaraj? Is the youth vote? Mr. Tiwari?
There is a probability that in any survey, a new party can get lesser number of votes. However, we have been tracking Bihar since July, and at one point of time during July, August, the vote share of Jan Swaraj had reached 9.7% levels. So there was, you can say, a peak of almost 10% vote share for Jan Swaraj. What we also not factor in, Rahul, is the fact that a new party also has challenges in communicating its symbol to the voters. The urban voters, youth voters are fine, but in rural areas and middle-aged senior citizen voters or less educated voters, what we also found in our tracker is that 48% of the respondents did not know what the symbol of Jan Swaraj was, and only 35% knew correctly what its symbol was. 16% identified it incorrectly.
Well, viewers, the sense that I'm getting after speaking to these two gentlemen, thank you very much, gentlemen, by the way. obviously, best of luck for your projections, because it's your neck that's going to be on the line. We'll, of course, have to cop the blame because people will say that you gave them airtime. But nonetheless, viewers, this is not an exact science. But I just want to say one thing. It's the youth voter, viewers, especially the first time and the aspirational voter up till 30, that is beginning to be heard. By 29, they might be decisive. Keep your eye on India's youth, viewers. They hold the keys. And political parties will now have to really pay attention to this group. I'll leave it at this.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Shocking, if not completely surprising, not the first time that educated Muslim men and women have been found to be part of terror modules. Not the first time that this has happened in India either. But are you surprised by just the sheer amount of radicalization that would have gone in for doctors to become agents of death? Mr. Dubey?
Actually, sorry, ma'am.
Yes.
Actually, I'm very sure basically the entire process of radicalization has got no connection with the person, whether he's a highly educated or he is a foot soldier. Actually, there has been initial era when these things mattered. But again, there is a section in our society which generally propagates the factor that that's a have-not fight. The person who is deprived, is less educated, having no opportunity for employment, these people are very easily motivated to join the radicalization and the terrorism. But if you see the history, even if you see the last 5 to 6 years development, highly educated people, including doctors, have been part of this radical terror system. And the latest outfit which have been burst with the great support of JNK police is an eye-opener for the entire society. I remember the days when these Kashmiri boys used to go for study in medical colleges in Pakistan, and Hurriyat Conference used to allocate the seats. You know who is the Hurriyat Conference? You know the entire story of the front offices of Hurriyat Conference in the Srinagar city. They used to allocate the seats and the money to study in the Pakistan. You think of a situation where these students are spending their 4 to 5 years in Pakistan in some medical college, suppose, what kind of thought process and what kind of motivation they are undergoing. Same situation is in Bangladesh. Our students are joining medical colleges in Bangladesh. You know situations is last 1.5 years, 2 years. The situation is turned in Bangladesh. And who is taking call in Bangladesh? 1 million Rohingyas are being radicalized in Bangladesh. The students who are joining in these countries, including few places in Nepal, ISI is taking advantage of these things. And these people are falling as easy prey. See you situation.
So
the
is
doctor
this...
is of 36 years age.
No, I want to understand. 2 questions that come out of your answer. One, I want to understand from you, is this then the generation that was already brainwashed when Hurriyat was still active, when stone pelting was still active, now coming to fore? Because we've acted on Hurriyat and other separatist agenda in Jammu and Kashmir only in the last, let's say, 5 to 6 years. So do you believe it is that generation that is already brainwashed that is coming to light now and they're doing what they were already brainwashed to do? Or do you feel that this is going to be an unending problem despite the curbing of Hurriyat in Jammu and Kashmir?
I tell you, I mean, as you know, the Hurriyat has been dealt with very tough hand.
Yes.
By the cases registered by the National Investigation Agency under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act in 2017. 18, 19. So that issue has been very well handled. Now the question is, you take the example of this doctor. He was born in 1989. And 1989, the year when the terrorism started in Kashmir. So you take the complete life of this person, I mean, in the situation of Kashmir. Now, these people are coming out of Kashmir. I mean, the person studied from the Government Medical College, Srinagar, Government Medical College, Anantnag. Is just joining such terror module at the helm of affairs. That is a very concerning issue. The problem is that we are not keeping tab of these institutions. Sorry to say, I have witnessed few cases in Greater Noida where great universities bearing very great name, they are giving so liberal free hand to their students just for the commercial purpose. Because if you keep these students off guarded, if you keep them happy, the easy remittance of commercials are coming to the institutions and there is nobody to tick off. Complete proctorial board, complete administrative body, they keep silent. And these boys are practicing radical activities inside the university in daytime. I'm not saying that offering namaz is bad. Can you offer namaz in the institution during classes? You cannot. Once I asked this question from the proctor, he told, "Arey ye नाराज हो जाएंगे, admission कम होगा, seats कम भरेगी." We are sold, I tell you. Why as an institution head, it's not my responsibility. What is the activity of this student? How he's doing, what he's doing? It's a job of the society also. We very easily blame the security agency.
No,
Yes.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post, and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. Coherence is not Donald Trump's strong suit. One day he hates foreign workers, next day he loves them. One day he's slapping tariffs on India, the next day he's showering praises. Tonight we decode what Trump's changing statements mean for India. Also on the show, it's a showdown between the AI giants. OpenAI's ChatGPT is falling behind Anthropic's Claude, which has just broken even. The latest from the Delhi blast investigation, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has visited the injured. Tensions are rising in the Caribbean as US and Venezuelan forces face off. In the Red Sea, the Houthis have stopped their attacks, but this may just be a temporary pause. We'll tell you why. In the UK, is Prime Minister Keir Starmer facing a coup? How pollution in New Delhi is getting worse. In Turkey, President Erdogan is trying to neutralize a political challenger by filing over 140 cases against him. And in Egypt, how museums are losing money over missing artifacts. Also, how solar flares disrupted radio signals across Africa and Europe. But first, the headlines.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky calls on his justice and energy ministers to resign over corruption scandal in the country's war-battered energy sector. The justice minister has been suspended and 5 people have been detained as part of a graft investigation involving alleged kickbacks worth around $100 million in the energy sector. Russia loses a legal bid at Australia's High Court to build a new embassy less than a kilometre from the country's parliament. Moscow was granted a 99-year lease in 2008, but it was revoked in 2023. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese at the time had said the government had received security advice from Canberra's spy agency on the risk of a new Russian presence so close to Parliament House. Cambodia and Thailand trade accusations of fresh clashes along their border. Phnom Penh says one civilian has been shot dead in hostilities which have flared after Bangkok paused the implementation of a US-backed peace deal. Thailand has said that the decision was taken after a blast from a newly laid landmine injured 4 of its soldiers. Pakistan's National Assembly passes the 27th Constitutional Amendment Bill, which aims to bring sweeping changes to the country's judicial system and the military's command structure. The ruckus-filled session was attended by Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif, PMLN President Nawaz Sharif and PPP Chairman Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. The bill will now be referred back to the Senate for the new amendments to be debated upon. And the UN nuclear watchdog urges Iran to allow it to verify its inventories of enriched uranium. Relations between Tehran and the International Atomic Energy Agency have been strained since a 12-day war in June which saw Israeli and US strikes on key Iranian nuclear facilities. Nuclear talks between Iran and world powers are also currently stalled.
There's a war brewing in the Caribbean. On one side, the lethal American military. On the other, a desperate Venezuelan army. The guns are in place, the warships are moving in. All that's left is to pull the trigger. The question is, will US President Donald Trump do it? And we can tell you the indications are not good. Yesterday, an American warship sailed into the Caribbean, and it's not just any other warship. It's the largest and most advanced carrier in the world, the USS Gerald Ford. 100,000 tons of lethal firepower. This ship was supposed to be in the Mediterranean, but the US cut short its deployment. Instead, it was rerouted to the Caribbean. Experts say this is a strange decision for the US military, because these are not nimble vessels. These are floating islands. They sail with a lot of firepower and support. Take a look at this. 5,500 soldiers, 75 attack and surveillance aircraft, which includes FA-18 fighter jets, and 5 missile-guided naval destroyers. This is what the Gerald Ford is bringing to the Caribbean. A lot of additional firepower is already there. There are 10,000 US soldiers in the region. Around half of them are in Puerto Rico. This is an overseas US territory. It's around 800 kilometers from Venezuela. Back in September, the US military had reopened a base on this island. So clearly, they were planning to mobilize. Other than the Gerald Ford, the US has 9 warships in the Caribbean: amphibious assault ship Iwo Jima, transport dock San Antonio, destroyer Jason Dunham, destroyer Stockdale, destroyer Gravely, missile cruiser Lake Erie, missile cruiser Gettysburg, combat ship Wichita, and nuclear submarine Newport News. Plus, you have the air assets, the B-52 strategic bombers, the B-1B supersonic bombers, the F-35 fighter jet, and the MQ-9 Reaper drones. All of these assets are deployed in the Caribbean. Now, I could detail each of these weapons, but I'm sure you get the idea. You don't order this kind of firepower for no reason. You're either preparing for war or you're hoping to scare the opposition into submission. So which is it? In public, the other side is not acting scared. Yesterday, Venezuela staged a military drill. Their defense minister promised to protect the homeland.
We are lovers of peace. We deeply love peace. We do not want war either here or anywhere in the world. But if they come to touch Venezuela, well, they will find us here. Walk through the streets, walk through the barracks, walk through the communes, walk through the communal militia units, and there you will see a people determined to defend this homeland to the death.
I know it sounds very brave, but trust me, the Venezuelans are scared. If the US military is at your gates, anyone would be. Now, this conflict began over drugs. The US accused Venezuela of smuggling drugs into the US. They say President Nicolas Maduro is behind it. In fact, the US has a bounty for Maduro, $50 million for his capture. For the capture of the Venezuelan president, $50 million. Many of Trump's advisors want him gone. They're pushing for a regime change in Venezuela, and their tactics have been diverse. The most visible tactic has been the airstrikes. The US military has struck 19 Venezuelan ships in the region. Washington calls them drug boats. No evidence, no trial. We are supposed to take their word for it. Put together, these strikes have killed 76 people since September. Even US allies are not okay with these attacks. Look at the UK, for example. In September, they stopped sharing Caribbean intelligence with the United States. Do you know why? In a sort of protest against the strikes. Now, the UK has 5 overseas territories in this region. They gather a lot of intel from those sites, but none of it will be shared with the US. Yet Trump doesn't seem to care. He has carried out more attacks since September, but will it go beyond that? Well, capability is not a question. The US military is far superior to Venezuela. They could neutralize them in weeks, if not days. But what happens after that? As of this week, the US has 15,000 troops in the region. That is not enough to occupy a country of almost 30 million people, so they can beat Venezuela but not hold it. Which brings us to some of the possible scenarios. Number one, limited strikes to weaken Maduro. Reports say crucial military targets have been identified. If Trump agrees, they could be hit. Number two, targeting national resources. Oil is the mainstay of Venezuela's economy, and most of their oil is concentrated in the eastern part. Perhaps the US will try to take out those facilities or maybe even take over them. And finally, possibility number three, Maduro folds. He stands alone against the US. Yes, China and Russia have offered political support, but that means little during a war. So Maduro may choose to strike a deal with Donald Trump. In fact, he's already tried once. Reports say that he made a proposal to the US last month. He offered all future oil and gold contracts to American companies. He also promised to end deals with Russia and China. Simply put, he tried to sell his country to the US, but apparently Donald Trump rejected it. And that's the tricky part here. No one knows what Trump actually wants from this episode. Is he signaling toughness on drugs? Is he trying to topple a socialist ruler? Is he eyeing Venezuela's natural resources? No one knows. All we can do is wait for the next deployment or airstrike.